And I take this privilege to welcome you all for the 6th Professor S.S. Dutta Memorial Lecture organized by the Indian Leather Technologists Association, ILTA, in association with CSIR Central Leather Research Institute during the 38th India International Leather Fair. Let me start with the words of the great philanthropist, late Ratan Tata. If you end up doing only what is easy, then you will never be able to achieve anything that is truly worthwhile. If there are challenges across, only then some interesting innovation solutions are found. The Indian Leather Technologists Association is a national organization established in the year 1950 with a shared goal of united individuals involved in various facets of the leather industry. ILTA represents India in the IUL-TCS, International Union of Leather Technologists and Chemist Societies, which is more than a century-year-old international organization. ILTA operates and has members not only in all parts of the country but also throughout the world. The ILTA is divided into 3 regions, the central, southern and the northwestern regions for their effective operations. ILTA has been organizing Lexpo's leather expositions to promote and provide marketing facilities to keep pace with latest design and technology and to have better interaction with the manufacturers and buyers of leather goods. Today, Lexpo has become a popular people's fair. With this, may I now request the dignitaries to pay their tributes to the portrait of Professor S.S. Dutta. Let us begin with the tributes, please. With this note, may I now request Mr. Susanta Malik, General Secretary ILTA, to address the gathering. Sir, please.
Honorable dignitaries on the dais, and all the participants. A very good morning and a warm welcome to everyone present here. Today, we are here to pay homage to Professor S.S. Dutta for his contribution to the leather science and technology. We have lost our beloved teacher and author of one of the most popular books on leather science and technology. We lost him on 14 January 2018, and I feel fortunate to be a student under him. His contribution for ILTA was enormous, especially for our journal and other publications. Especially the book titled An Introduction to Principles of Leather Manufacture, authored by this great scientist, is still a contemporary contribution to the Indian leather industry. ILTA publishes these books since last 3 decades, no, in fact 4 decades, and it is circulated throughout the world at cost price. Looking to his immense contribution towards leather fraternity, ILTA decided to organize a memorial lecture every year on this occasion to give award to the scholars with best innovative projects and felicitating eminent personalities, and also to felicitate the big leather houses who secured the top position as overall best exporters from Indian leather industry in the last financial year. This entire event is organized by our Southern Region Committee, headed by Dr. Jagannathan, in association with CSI or CLRI since 2019. So credit goes to Southern Regional Committee of ILTA. We have today Dr. K.J. Sriram as a guest of honor to enrich this initiative and to motivate us, and Dr. N. Mohan, Director and CEO, Footwear Business, Kothari Industrial Corporation, as Honorable Speaker, along with our Vice President, President of Southern Region Committee, other eminent dignitaries, students, scientists, scholars, our members, industrialists, and guests. We are thankful to all of you, sir. We are confident that today's deliberation by an eminent industrialist, Mr. Mohan, as Professor S.S. Dutta Memorial Lecture, will be highly motivational for us and especially for the students of Leather Science and Technology. On behalf of Central Committee of ILTA, I must congratulate our Southern Region Committee for organizing such an important event so nicely. We are proud of your Southern Region Committee members and thankful to CLRI for their continuous support in all our activities. Thank you very much to all of you again. Now I request our President of Southern Region Committee to welcome the audience, please.
Thank you, sir. As sir included, let me add a few words about S.S. Dutta. Professor S.S. Dutta served as the Professor of Leather Technology at the College of Leather Technology in Calcutta first. He graduated in science with distinction, earning a gold medal from Calcutta University in 1955. He served as a lecturer and demonstrator in tanning at the College of Leather Technology in Calcutta from 1959 to 1962. Later, he was deputed to the Central Leather Research Institute at Chennai by the government of West Bengal for advanced training in protein chemistry and physical testing of leather. Professor Dutta has authored over 200 technical papers, most of which have been highly appreciated in India and abroad. Professor Dutta has also written a number of popular articles in various Indian journals. His famous book titled An Introduction to the Principles of Leather Manufacture is a pioneer textbook in most of the leather industries till date. He was also a honorary associate editor of the Dutta for a number of years. This legend is a realm of leather technology who passed away on 14th of January 2018, leaving behind a legacy that continues to be remembered and celebrated. With this note, may I now request Mr. N.R. Jagannathan, President ILTA Southern Region, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning to everyone. Dignitaries on the dais, Dr. K.J. Sriram, Dr. N. Mohan, Sushant Malik, Secretary ILTA, Mr. N. Mohan of Southern Region Secretary, and students, ladies and friends. It's a pleasure for me to welcome all of you for today's 6th memorial lecture of Professor S.S. Dutta. A brief biography of Mr. Dutta has been given by the compare. His book is always a Bible to all the people who are reading leather technology. Of course, when I was a student, this book was not available, but I had the K.T. Sarkar book, another doyen of the industry. And in this context, I want to tell you that I am one of the privileged persons. When I was a young fellow in the schools, I had an opportunity to visit Professor B.M. Das, who was the first director of CLRI, because my brother was personal secretary to him. So he took me to his house and a few words I had with him. But we never talked leather that time. So I have this memory very fresh in my mind. For today's meeting, I was discussing with Dr. Sriram to locate or identify a good speaker. So he came out with a suggestion that why not we call Mr. Akhil Ahmed. I spoke to him. Mr. Akhil Ahmed readily agreed. But what happened is he had to leave for Taiwan day before yesterday. So his inability was told to me. I didn't know what to do. I was in a fix. So I immediately called Irshad of Farida Prime Tannery. I asked Irshad to come and deliver the lecture. Irshad readily agreed to do so. But there was one problem there. Tomorrow is his wife's birthday. So, and he has got a lot of foreign dignitaries in his factory. So he can't miss the factory tomorrow. So he gave a word to his wife before I called him that he will spend the day today with her. So he says, I'm sorry, I can't come. Then he said, what to do? I don't know. Then he suggested, why don't you call Mohan, who was ex-Clark's, ex-Tata. I said, okay, I'll call him. So he gave me the number of Mohan, and Mohan was in Kathmandu at that time. So I spoke to him and explained the background that Mohan, I am not calling you for the first speaker. You are coming as a fill-up bag. Don't worry about it. I will come. I'll take this opportunity as a good one to deliver my thinking to the audience there. Don't worry about it. I'm not offended or anything. So such a great humbleness he had got that he readily agreed. So for which I'm very thankful to him. And another thing, Shashank Malik has applied to IT people to give a hall for this lecture. Then Sriram came to me and said, why do you do it? We have got a big hall now in the new convention. Lyric is being organized there. You come and participate with her. We will collaborate. Karumbatinna Kuliya. So who else will miss this opportunity? So at no cost, I am having a big hall with the audience. 300 people, he said, will accommodate. So thank you very much. But just hold on. I have to commit. I can't commit myself. I will consult my EC, my executive committee, and also the ILTA committee. So I called my EC committee. They said, this is a great opportunity, let's do it. And Alpha, my old people association, they are all in one point, one straight line. So this is the collaboration we have, unity in unity. So we don't go different ways, we come together and exchange ideas and work together. So I am very pleased to be here today to have Mr. Mohan, Sriram, Malik and Mohan. So I welcome you, all of you, and on behalf of ILTA Southern Region, it's a great opportunity. It is the 6th time we are doing it. Last time I missed it because I was away, but this time I wanted Raghav to do it again, but Raghav said, no, since you are there, you do it. So he doesn't want to take responsibility, though he is a vice president, and then okay, do it. So with present memories, I am again welcoming all of you to be here, and after the lecture, a lunch is arranged. Please have lunch and go. Thank you very much.
Almost the same audience had spoke a little while back. Of course, the scenario is slightly different. One of those aspects which I just would like to point out here is when we all spoke about, let me just give a small background. Yesterday we had a meeting of the CIFI, and one thing which we all agreed was in a speech of the finance minister, which happens once in a year, when she has to address thousands of things, she gives more than a minute to talk about leather and footwear sector. So all those of you who are students, who are people associated with the industry, who after long years of being associated with the industry feel a little bad to say that you are with the industry, must recognize that India still looks at us with lot of pride, lot of aspects that we can deliver, which many others cannot deliver. I think when we say this, because the rest of the world, whether it is steel, mining, etc., they may possibly is looking at us as a very, very small group of people. But they are not realizing that if we don't exist, they cannot even get out of their houses today because they don't have a footwear to wear. So we have become such an integral part of them that they have started forgetting us. But without us, without a comfortable footwear, they cannot be there. In fact, we were talking about SS Dutta. So this is the kind of history that we talk about our subject. And I suppose it's more than anything else, the most needed aspect of one's life. When I speak about this, being a very, very small group of people in this country or in the world, One of those things which the Central Leather Research Institute has been striving to do over the past few years is that all of us should assemble on a single technology-led platform. And we at CLRI, being, say, possibly, I forget that word nowadays, though today, on paper, we are the largest organization relating to leather and allied subjects in the world. I would not want to use that word global leader or globally largest and all those kind of things, but the institute today sees itself in a position to be the platform on which any organization should come and integrate to work together for the betterment of this industry. Every one of them, morning Mr. Naushad spoke about research is happening here and there, but we are not integrating. I suppose that's exactly what is happening. A few minutes back, one of my colleagues introduced to me a set of college students who came and said they were working on vegan leather. Right? Yesterday I was speaking to somebody who's manufacturing insoles, and he said, sir, Ames Delhi is extremely interested to work on footwear. They made some footwear. Government does a lot of good things, and one of them is a transparency portal wherein people in India can put questions. People in India can say that we are doing this and we want to promote that scientific temper in me and become a scientific entrepreneur and those kind of things. And we were in CLRI sent us patent, which one of the college, just out of college student had been granted, and he was looking for commercialization of his patent. And that patent was about introducing sensors into the shoe. You will be surprised what we received as a document first, and then when we spoke to that gentleman and the prototype which he showed us, there were all kinds of needle-like sensors projecting through from the sole to the insole and touching your leg. And I asked, are you making a sensor or the instrument, or are you making a footwear? This is like the modern day telephone, mobile phones, where we talk more about the capabilities of the camera rather than the phone itself. He had all kinds of sensors in the shoe, but practically nothing to walk on. Because if you put your leg into it, it will really pierce your leg out. That was the kind of material that we were showing. So my point here is that we as a small group of people will have to make the world understand that footwear, leather products is not a joke. A footwear contains more than 250 plus items that goes into it. And each one of them is very, very critically important to the performance that we are talking about. And in this whole thing, who else can better talk about it than Dr. Mohan himself? The idea here is, he is one who has seen the industry at very, very close levels, ventured from, I would say, leather processing onwards to product making to leather footwear to today leading a mega group into the non-leather footwear segment, traveled widely to understand what happens around the world. And I suppose this would be a tremendously good opportunity for us to actually honor SS Dutta, who started this education process in leather. While I do agree that we need to keep in mind the aspects of the old generation textbooks, etc. It's just about 40 credits or so in a particular subject. What we had to do was to go back and really think, how can I teach the new things, but also keep the old one? If I remove the old ones, there will be a good big school of people who will shout against us, you are not teaching things properly. But one thing in that meeting that we really asked was, should I be teaching unhairing using sodium sulfide still, or should I be just talking about sodium sulfide based unhairing as a historical practice and leave more emphasis on the sustainable enzymatic processes and so on? Completely forget the past. But I would say that
what is there in textbook like that of Dr. S.S. Dutta, etc., should rather become a bridge course for a 12th standard student in its introduction to leather manufacture or footwear manufacture, etc. And then we should all be teaching them, showcasing to them what is the latest that they might encounter when they enter the industry. So today, when we have revised the syllabus of the Anna University, we are giving options to the BTech student to take any one of the verticals. The vertical could be, go ahead, study more of the protein, go into research, go ahead, study footwear from the third semester or third year itself, and become a footwear technologist at the end of your UG program. Or even go back, get some extra credits on international relationships, exim policy, this, that, etc. Because today, 30 to 50% of what Mr. Jalan said in the morning, you may not even have understood. Many of you people might not even know that abbreviations which he mentioned in the morning of basic duty or basic customs duty, BCD, this, that, etc. But when you enter the industry, those are the words what matter to the industry today. And we need to teach you that as well. So this is something which I wanted to highlight in the sense that every one of us who are today in the academic side, every one of us who are on the bridging side of the academy with the industry, every one of us who are leading the research areas, I think we should prepare the new generation for what is happening today and what is going to happen tomorrow in the industry. Thank you very much.
Mr. Bharat Kumar is receiving the medal. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Mr. Madani is receiving the medal from Mr. Sushila. And Muhammad Wasif, BMI of BTech Leather Technology, is receiving the medal now. Request Mr. Susanta Malik to deliver this medal also. So, because it's of the same project, the three students comprise of this single project, and it's titled Development of Athletic Sheer Leather Products. Thank you, sir. May I now request Mr. N.R. Jagannathan to award this prize. The S.S. Dutta Memorial Medal is the next award is presented to Mr. Vignesh S. of M.Tech Footwear Engineering and Management, Anna University, for his most innovative project on adjustable arc height for individuals with minimum flat foot. I request Dr. K.J. Sriram to present this medal, please. Ditto Sanki, Mr. Sudhapit Das and Rahul Deshmukh. Widely recognized for its technical depth and relevance, JILTA has earned a reputation as the most extensively circulated journal in this domain. As a crucial resource for professionals, researchers, and enthusiasts in the leather industry, JILTA plays a pivotal role in fostering knowledge exchange and promotion innovation. I now request Mr. Susanta Malik and Mr. N.R. Jagannathan to release the IILF 2025 special issue of JILTA, February 2025, and hand over the first copy to Dr. N. Mohan, please. Dr. R. Mohan and Dr. N. Mohan. The award winners are, the first year prize goes to Apache Footwear India Private Limited, Tirupati. Any representative from Apache Footwear here can collect the prize. Okay. The second prize goes to Mirza International Private Limited, Kanpur. Any representative from Mirza International? Okay. And the third prize is Super House Group from Kanpur. Okay, so these are our best export awards, and we will deliver the awards directly to their premises. As a token of gratitude and honor, we would like to present a memento to our dignitaries. I request Dr. K.J. Sriram to kindly honor Mr. Sushanta Malik and Dr. N.R. Jagannath. Mr. N.R. Jagannath. Next, I request Dr. R. Mohan. Thank you, sirs. Thank you. Let them realize and reach their fullest potential, which he believes is the foundation of every successful organization. Dr. Mohan holds a PhD in competitive marketing strategy for the Indian footwear industry from the Institute of Management Studies, Indo. Prior to his doctoral studies, he also earned an MBA in marketing from IIMS, Indo. His invaluable contribution extends to numerous prestigious associations, including the Council for Leather Exports, Make in India, the Leather Sector Skill Development Council, and the Indoor Management Association, among many others. With this note, may I now request Dr. N. Mohan to deliver the 6th Professor S.S. Dutta Memorial Lecture on the title, Indian Leather and Footwear Sector's Current Scenario and Way Forward.
Morning, everybody. Respected Mr. Sushant Malik, Mr. Jagannathan, Dr. Sriram, and Mr. Cha, and my esteemed colleagues of the industry, and above all, the future budding students of the leather technology and footwear technology. So when Mr. Jagannathan kind of spoke to me in Kathmandu, he did mention to me, you are the third choice. My lucky number is 3. I share the birthday of Rajinikanth. But only difference is the bank accounts. So I didn't hesitate a bit to come and speak, especially the students, because you are all the future of the nation. And in fact, all of us have to believe that this industry has got a fantastic opportunity and potential. And what I was thinking, because this slides were prepared in the flight and then I landed day before today, and there could be some errors, but nevertheless, what I thought is, I'll present the current scenario and what are the opportunities which is there in many of the students who are here, and what are the new things which are coming in the market, and how we can kind of reinvent ourselves. We have to reinvent and evolve, and we can't be kind of driving a car with a rear view mirror. That's the past. Past is history. But nevertheless, I thought I will present few slides here, about 25 slides, and I can take the question and answers towards the end of the slide presentation. Thank you very much. See, this is something, we are in a very good period actually. I wish I had been some 20 years younger, to be very honest. Because this is India's century, it's not India's decade, it's India's century, to be very honest. You know, India's growth potential, this is not, we are saying, it's the world is saying, we are going to be positioned to become the overall third largest consuming country in the world. It involves everything, consumption of footwear, be it consumption of anything. We are going to be the third largest consuming country in the world by 2030. And what does it, what are our strengths? 62% of young population, which we have in this country, workforce. So that's our strength. Nowhere, only Saudi Arabia has got about less than 30 years. That's why you find Prince Salman kind of making all those changes in Saudi Arabia. I was recently in China, and the average age of the workforce is about 50 plus. Let me tell you, I went to the many factories in China. The average is about 50 years plus. And Vietnam is about 45 years plus, and and Indonesia is about 40 years plus. So we have a phenomenal opportunity in this country. Where will the world go for shoes? Will they go to Africa? 1.3 billion people in Africa. I had worked in Africa. I had the opportunity of working in Zambia in my younger days. The work culture itself is not set. Other than South Africa and Namibia, the work culture is not set, in those countries. So we have in India a phenomenal opportunity. But the young students out here, have to believe in themselves. They have to have a very strong belief. And what is our market potential? I want to, see, even though the presentation is here, I'm kind of going to share my experiences and how the world kind of evolved. In the early 2000s, China took a policy of looking at market next door. That's a policy of China. They said, okay, we have been an exporting country, and what can we do to kind of push the domestic consumption? So they put more money in the hands of the people. And as many of you would have read the budgetary speech of Honorable Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman yesterday, there are a lot of tax cuts that have been given in the middle class population to put more money in the hands of the people. If you put more money in the hands of the people, what will happen? The consumption will increase. So India is the second largest consumer, and we consume about 1.9 pairs per person per year. And we had in SIFI, I had been fortunate enough to mentor two of the researchers, one in SIFI with Mr. Sandeep Kataria of Bata and myself and Mr. Naushad and others. And we had been able to kind of project that the consumption by 2030 is going to be about 3.82 per person per day. And what is that going to mean? It's going to create a huge employment opportunity in this country across the value chain. China took a decision. Look, I will not look at it as some of the speaker in the previous session also said, don't look at it just as leather footwear or non-leather footwear, or you look at a holistic picture. What is the job creation which is there right from the allied industries of making components and footwear manufacturing and in distribution and in retail? Luckily in my life I've got exposure across the value chain. So I can tell you that if the consumption increases, the job creation is going to be phenomenal. You're going to see in subsequent slides. India also has a huge export opportunity, which we all know, but unfortunately our export has been stagnant. And to my colleague Naushad mentioned in his speech in the earlier session, we have been hovering at about 2.4 billion. That's what has been our last 5-6 years export turnover. And out of that is also $600 million worth is non-leather footwear. Like we awarded Apache and Fung Tai are the largest non-leather footwear exporters in this country. Fung Tai exporting about 39 million pairs to Nike and Columbia, and Apache doing about 25 million pairs to Adidas. So if you look at it, we need to kind of, as a leather industry, we need to grow. Leather would have its own sense of pride in the market. I can present a lot of data to you over the last 10-15 years. What has been the consumption pattern and everything. We had been hovering at 15 to 16% over the last 10 to 15 years. So leather is bound to stay. So don't get kind of saying, oh, non-leather is coming and leather is not going to happen and all that. Don't, think on those lines. The second is, just a quick outlook. Last year, the global consumption went down by 1.5 billion pairs. The global consumption. This is the data from World Footwear Book, 2023. Whereas if you look at India, our growth had been 2%, when there had been a negative growth in the world. So that shows what all the parameters are quite good, towards India. All the conditions are very good, and there is something which I'll cover in the next slides. Some kind of premierization is happening, and the young consumer, the mindsets are changing. I'll tell you what is going to happen. If you look at it, this is what the global consumption, 23.9 billion pairs going down to 22.4 billion pairs. We never regained the pre-COVID levels of 24.3 billion pairs. Pre-COVID, we have been growing at an average of 2 to 3%. The global production had been growing between 2 to 3%. But after COVID, there was a deep fall of 20.5, and then it regained. Last year has been bad. It has been at about 22.4 billion pairs only. But what is interesting to see is the difference between China and India. Like for example, 54% of the world share is with China. And we have a distant second, 11.96%. Having traveled in China since 1989, that was my first visit to China, having traveled in China, I can tell you that we are far more superior. I'm not saying that just because I'm an Indian, I'm saying we are far more superior, and we can think and we can do a much, much, much better job. There are certain things lacking with ourselves, which if we kind of get those interventions done, I'm sure we will do a much better job than China. And consumers, again, we are the second largest consumer. Last year we were third, and this year we are second largest consumer. About 12.4% is what our consumption is, and China is about 17.1% is the China share. And United States is 9.4. Of course, the average price of the footwear that is consumed in the United States is much higher than what we consume in India. And you know what is happening in terms of, see, Nike constituted research in 1980. And I have the case study also, and I can share it with the students. And what they said is, what is the alternative which we can do, you know, to the synthetic footwear, microfiber, petroleum-based products, you know. Microfiber or PU, it's all byproducts of petroleum. So they said, like, they came up with this textile footwear, Flyknit. They came up with this Flyknit idea. You know, Nike was the first one to introduce the Flyknit idea. But today you see, 29 to 30% of the world consumption is made out of textile uppers. And you see, despite all this, leather is still at 15%. Leather would have its own pride. That's what, you know, I want to re-emphasize and again so that, you know, many people talk about non-leather footwear. I started my career in leather, and there's a small story, an anecdote I'll share. When I passed out my school, I got admission in B.Tech Leather Technology in AC Tech. And I had a grandmother who said, no, you should be a mechanical engineer or a civil engineer, otherwise you will not get any good girls to marry. This is what she told me. So they packed me off to Mumbai, and my grandmother used to live in Mumbai, and she used to smell me whenever I come a little late, whether the guy is drunk or something like that, coming from a conservative background. I got a job in Tata's at the age of 19 and a half. I just ran away to Delhi. That is my story. That's where I started. And eventually I ended up in leather only. And it's like a disease. Leather is like a disease. It gets into you. You never get out of it. You have to be passionate about it. And you love whether non-leather, anything can come tomorrow or day after. But still leather would have its place of pride in the world. So that's what I would like to say. Like, for example, rubber and plastic dominate. It's about 50%. And the textile upper is about 29%, but leather is about 15%. Despite leather footwear continues to hold its position, despite everything. Fashion lifestyle, despite the fashion lifestyle changes, you know, like in our, you know, in my period, when I was young, in the schools we used to talk about an Englishman with a suit and an umbrella and leather shoes, basically. That's how the idea we had about an Englishman. So when I first went to UK, I was looking for one such guy like that, and I could never find one. And if you go today in the offices in London especially, both my kids work in the financial sectors. I go today, they go on a Friday afternoon with shorts and shoes. I was surprised and shocked. So the entire thing, lifestyle has changed completely, you know. There was in England, I come from Tata's. All my life I had worked in Tata's. Our standard dress code when I was working in London is a suit, black suit and a white shirt. That is the standard, you're not allowed inside. That's a standard kind of a dress code. But if you see the lifestyle changes, we don't sell footwear or we don't sell leather, we sell an emotion. This is something which we need to understand, you know, like I'm saying, like we sell an emotion. Most of the buying from the consumer perspective or impulsive buying. You go, you look at it something, you just buy. The look is very important. I come from industry, the Tata Group, where I used to give, it's a very strong engineering based industry, where they look for logic. Everything has to have a logic. So I used to give this example, leather is like your steel. It's a commodity. Like for example, you can't brand it and you've got different purpose of using. And footwear is like auto components, basically. And shoe is like a car. When you look at shoe, what comes to your mind is the shape of the shoe. Then the color of the shoe, then whether it suits your personality. These are the kind of things which comes to your mind when you look at your shoe. But if you look at a car also, the similar thing. So I used to give those kind of analogies to get traction about leather. I'm very happy that in the budget speech yesterday, we all came into limelight. Being in limelight is good and bad. You could be short also, but you could do very well also. So I think the opportunity is there in our hands, and we should grab it with both the hands and then take it forward. So this is the scenario in terms of breakup, in terms of leather with textile uppers or rubber, and leather, the shoes with it. I don't want to go at it. I want to say something here. This is a very important slide. China, look at the export orientation. It's about 72%. Whereas India, the export orientation is only 9.9%. That means what? 90% of what we produce in India is consumed in India. It's more domestic orientated than an export orientated. And if you look at Vietnam, 95% of its production is getting exported. This is a very important thing for us to bring about focus in our exports. Exports is important. Why I am saying exports is important? In fact, Dr. Mohan must be here, and we used to have a lot of argument when we did the BIS thing. I always had the view that our industry should be exposed to competition. Unless and until we expose the industry to competition, we will not learn, we will not come up with innovation. We will continue to believe what we are doing is right. So we had our set of arguments, and finally we found a solution on BIS, and that has improved. That has improved. That has brought about the quality consciousness in the entire industry. It could be a hard decision, but at the end of the day, it has brought in a lot of quality consciousness in the entire industry. That's one thing which I want to point out here. Consumers, I don't want to kind of, top 20 consumers, I don't want to kind of go detail. We spoke about it before. And this is our domestic scenario. This is something which is very interesting in India to see. This is the pyramid. If you see, almost 83% of the footwear sold in this country is about it's about 1200 to 1400 rupees maximum, And this is a research which we had two agencies to do this research. And it's from the organized sector only, the numbers. The unorganized sector, if I include, it will be further down also. We can't capture the unorganized sector. This is the kind of a thing. And the premium, we call in premium 3,000 rupees and above. That is about 6%, 6 to 7% only, premium and luxury. So that's a kind of the current scenario in the domestic market, because footwear, for example, in the older generation, you need something which is functional necessity. You need something to carry your body from A to B. But the youngsters sitting out here, it is more of a fashion statement of an individual, reflecting his attitudes. I want to kind of, be something, I want to be known as something. My personality is from the footwear I wear. Because like the old saying is that, show me a shoe, I'll tell what you are. So this is something, is emerging in India, especially with the younger discerning. I want to share my experience with Clarks. When I took over Clarks just about pre-COVID, I am fortunate enough as a special invitee of the board of the Clarks Global, and also in India and Southeast Asia, I used to kind of look after. One thing I noticed that we were not getting good retail spaces in India, because the number of malls which are coming up in India were very slow at that point of time. I'm talking about 2018, because Clarks cannot be in the high street, it has to be in the mall, for example, as a brand. Then I found, look, there is a way of capturing the customer by using the e-commerce way. You would not going to believe, 44% of my sales used to come from e-commerce, and not discounted platform or something like that, because I have been able to give access. Because today, almost 99% of the PIN codes in India can be serviced in the last mile delivery, it can be serviced. So that's the kind of the markets is changing. See, while we are looking at exports to grow, at the same time, you've got a ready-made market in India. Like I was hearing to Mr. Piyush Goyalji, in fact, Mr. Naushad was present in that argument of the manpower calculation, how much it would kind of generate another thing. Then I strongly wrote a letter saying that this is my, logic behind manpower generation. And he said that when he went for this FTA discussion, with UK especially, in fact, I had the opportunity to meet them 2 weeks back. One of the secretaries who was dealing on an FTA with UK and EU, the lowest hanging fruit is footwear. First, they want to kind of, get the footwear on the FTA. And they said, what is it you have to offer? And he shared this famous Diwar dialogue. मेरे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, सब कुछ है, तुम्हारे पास क्या है? He said, many of you might understand Hindi, मेरे पास consumption है. So India is a market which has a huge consumption opportunity. That is what, that's the gold mine which we are sitting today. And this is really a fact which will kind of propel our growth. So India is also like, my PhD had been on how the Indian market will evolve. This was done some 12 years back when I got my PhD. How the global markets are there, how the shoes get to the final customer, how India is going to evolve. But if you see in India, you've got your retail, you've got your franchisee, you've got your multi-branded outlets, you've got your e-com marketplaces and own websites, and you've got your distributors to service the independents. The independent business is not there in Europe or in the US. All have closed down. And you've got institutional sales. Like the footwear, for example, just to give you a market scenario in India, this is the kind of a distribution a global brand can have. I just recently took over a global brand for 9 countries, and I'm just taking 2 more. One is in the athletic space, athleisure space, and one is a very famous brand. I don't want to kind of divulge, but it will come, you will know in the next. But this is the kind of a thing which we can have. That's an access which we can give to our consumers, because the retail space in India is very expensive. Just for your, Professor Sriram, Dr. Sriram mentioned about when you go into the business world, you need to understand certain, like the BCD he spoke about. He spoke about the duties, he spoke about all those things. You need to understand some other business terms, like if some of you could be in retail tomorrow, you could end up into a career in retail, or you could end up into a career in branding and distribution. Not necessarily you need to be in, in manufacturing only. I started my career in crust yard in Tata, and that's what my first TCT training was given there, and I grew up, and then many of us don't know what our talent is. Many of our youngsters, we don't know what our hidden talent is. This is something, God gives you opportunities, and that's the time you realize your hidden talent. Oh, this is where there are certain jobs you will love, like fish taking to the water. Like you love it. You will love it. Like you won't kind of get exhausted at all. So I realized one day my talent is like business development and product development and exploring new markets. So I never looked back from that, this thing. Similarly, so that's why I thought this slide is very important for people. Some of you could get into retail and other things. So that's how the distribution happens in India. But the distribution which happens internationally, for example, in Middle East, it's all retail, and e-commerce is just developing in Middle East. Like Amazon took over soup.com recently. So it's developing in a small way, the e-commerce in the Middle East. Then current changes internationally. What's happening that current changes internationally? Footwear is no longer a mere functional necessity, which I mentioned before. It is a fashion statement of an individual, reflecting his attitudes. This is something, the younger generation today, they want to be dressed in a certain way. It's a social media era. Even if they go into a restaurant, they order a special food. First they click the food and it's put in the Instagram immediately. So it is something, so we need to kind of change with the timings. So footwear, so what the retailers have done, retailers have kind of, really defined their target audience, TG, what we call it as in the marketing terms. Like, you're looking for a brogue, a formal shoe, for example, or a customer walking into a Marks and Spencer store, and the customer walking into a Zara or H&M store. Both want to have a brogue, but both are different, different type of customer. One is a matured customer, 45 years plus. Other one is between 25 and 35 years. So that is how the world is changing. So when I started my career in marketing, international marketing, my statement always used to be, this is what I am capable of making. We have the lowest, labor rate, and give me a sole, give me a dice, and let me try and make the shoe for you, where price is the USP. But today, in those days, we are fortunate enough to have people who had kind of experience, a lot of experience to handle. Like, for example, Mr. Jagannathan would know Mr. Manfred Graf of Gabor, or Mr. Leibrook of... so these guys used to hit and then teach us, look, This is how it should be done. And today, that knowledge is not there in Europe or anywhere. It's not there. And the other thing which is happening is, people don't have the pipeline is reducing. There is one dangerous thing which is happening. I happened to visit a factory in China. And it's a 42-year-old youngster from Yunnan province who had created, he took me to his special third floor. The entire floor was full of patents, what he has done. He has 600 people, only 600 people. He makes 10,000 pairs of shoes a day, leaning running shoes, Adidas and Hoka. He makes only 600 people. Why he is doing that? I'll tell you why he is doing that. Number one, in China, the investments are much more higher. It's not like a normal factory. You need to go for AI sensing, soul laying machines, so many things, AI interventions is there, so many things is there. And they don't normally take you to the, but he's a friend of mine, so he took me. And 3D printing mold is there, which I'm trying to bring here in India. Or I can put it in Eastern Europe, and I can be closer to the, market, proximity market. Like many of the customers, many of the retailers, they have kind of changed the sourcing strategy. 30% of the product they buy from proximity markets. Proximity markets mean the pipeline is about 4 to 5 weeks only. Whereas if I order in China, it takes about, from the day of ordering to the goods hitting my warehouse, it takes about, say about 3 months to 4 months. So I need to take a judgment whether it will sell or not. At least 4-6 months in advance. By then the fashion is changing, dynamically changing. Then what happens? It is no longer kind of your quality and delivery, which is the full price sell-through. That's one of the yardsticks which most of the customers evaluate their supplier. What is your full price sell-through? Full price sell-through meaning my discounts are less. I'm selling most of the products, the percentage, at a full price sell-through. So those are the kind of things which are changing in the world. And if you don't take cognizance of those kind of changes and try to live in our past, in 1940 we used to do it, 60 we do it, it will not work at all. And in fact, many times I speak to the youngsters, it's more reverse mentally. Like I tell you, I don't know how to fix my iPhone, certain things. I give it to a 9-year-old kid and 2 minutes they fix it and give it to me. So we need to be open to learn from the youngsters also, because the things are changing. They are living in a different world. The first time I saw a TV was India, India, West Indies 1983 World Cup final in a black and white TV. That's the time, I was 21-year-old boy at that point of time. So if you look at it, like these guys are at 4-5 years, they know what YouTube, what comic to watch, and it's a different world we are living. So we need to change with whatever changes that are happening around us. So that's another thing. And supplies, like I said, are evaluated based on the sell-through, not just quality, time and delivery. And that's another metrics which has gone into many of the retailers. Challenges. What are the challenges which is facing? The older generation has gone, which I already mentioned. I don't want to repeat myself. And the manufacturer's responsibility to understand what is the DNA of Mr. Zara, what is the DNA of Mr. Marks and Spencer. And I'm just taking these few names basically because these are names which are very popularly known in India. And so I'm saying, like, I was involved in the evaluation, in the evolution of a Zudio concept from Tata's. I don't know how many of you have heard about Zudio. And one of the things they said is, we will, normally what happens, the retailer has a multiple of about 3 times minimum, 3 to 3.5 times, depending upon the segment you are in. If it is a premium segment, it's 10 times. If it is, say, it's about 3 to 3.5 times. There's a young guy, I don't want to name him, he's very famous, and he's running it, thanks to him. He said that, look, I would have a markup of only 1.6 times. And I would have the return on the shelf space faster. So they sell 90 t-shirts a minute. 90 t-shirts a minute. The pricing is so nice. Say they pass on all the benefit to the consumer. And today they have more outlets than McDonald's in this country. So I'm saying, like, so these are some of the things which we all, from old school, I'm also considered myself old school. And I never believed, he was a kid that point, and now he's very big. So I just kind of ridiculed him, saying that and all that. But look at it, the success has completely changed the whole dynamics. Speak to fashion and speak to marketing. And I was very surprised and aghast. Like for example, being a part of this Reliance brands, the various luxury brands. For 6 months I did that. I used to go to all this Milan couture show and all those shows. You will not believe. The Chinese guys will take pictures with the girls walking on the ramp. And you will not believe, in 2 weeks' time, a different version is already developed and it is there to the customer's table. So it's the speed and the innovation, the speed at which we can move. That's very, very critical today. We don't have the time. That's the speed at which we need to work. And the youngsters with so much energy you guys have, you can do much, much better than us. And really you can make us much more prouder. I really, in 1 year, we executed. We bought 650 acres of land, 1 million square feet factory. Created and kind of, started production. Many of the global brands are saying, it's in public domain, Like Nike CEO was there and he met Honorable Commerce Minister. He said 20% of the global sourcing should come from India. And Prof CEO was there and he said, Nike sells about 250 million pairs of shoes around the world. 20 million means 50 million pairs minimum has to come from India. And similarly, Prof CEO said 40 million pairs has to come from India. And Adidas. So we are sitting on humongous opportunity. A little while before Mr. Wahab spoke about the white leather. He spoke about the white leather. In fact, what he has done is unbelievable in his standpoint. I had the opportunity to see it because I was recommending him to one of the largest athletic footwear manufacturing. So there are a lot of avenues which are coming in, opening up. So we need to kind of really keep, like a doctor keeps on studying till their death, Because new diseases emerge and new things come in. Similarly, as youngsters, I would request you keep with what is happening around the world. Keep on, at least you guys have the Google, everything, on your fingertips, and you can know what is happening. The young kid will say, like, if I get something from UK, she will immediately Google H&M UK and then go into that and say, itna paisa kregi. 10-year-old girl, I was shocked. Like that's a kind of an information access you guys have got. India opportunity. We created a vision. Fortunately, the vision, one vision was created by CAB with KPMG. Another vision we created with CP. The third vision was created by Ashok, where I presented to the Honorable Commerce Minister. Like, what is it we should do? How we can? He devoted exactly 2.5 minutes for us. I was calculating because I was part of CII task force, so I was there. So I was calculating how much time she is giving to us. 2.5 minutes. We have brought our, thanks to the efforts by CFI, CLE and various organizations to bring and CLRI also, Mr. Sriram, I must kind of mention, and we have brought the industry to the attention. Now it is entirely up to us. Okay, we have energy left, but the youngsters, you have to take it forward. The baton, you have to take the baton from us and run. That's what it should be. From the 11%, we want to be 25%. No, you need to define. When you create a vision, it has to be something which is co-created. And I might have a vision, and Jagannathan sir could have a vision, and Chandrasekhar sir could have a vision. But we all need to sit together and co-create it. That's how visions are created, co-created. So that and there is a belief system, and we believe that this definitely will happen. So that's what we have created, and what that will do for us. What are the suggestions? This is my honest suggestion, which I tell in every forum. We need to kind of change the way we present ourselves in the global markets. Not those panbala shop like of stalls. I'm sorry, my CLE friends have been there, he'll shoot me. But anyhow, I'm open in what I'm saying. you know, we need to have really engage a global nodal industry. And you go to the Brazilian stands, you go to the other Mexican stand. They are poor country. They are not rich like us. Go to those stands and go and see how they are doing, how they are presenting themselves. Forget about the models and the fashion show, what they have. Forget about it. But the way, the flavor, unbelievable. So we need to kind of market ourselves much better. Second is remove the perception that leather is a polluting industry. Remove this perception. We are doing a great favor. Someone presented about the CO2 the other day. We are doing a great favor by converting the byproduct of the meat industry into leather. Don't talk about cattle population at all. Don't talk about cattle population. We should not talk about cattle population. That has got nothing to do with. That's relevant to the meat industry. We are the ones, we are kind of, taking the byproducts and we are creating value out of the waste. That's the kind of a, attitude. That's what, I say it in every forum. We are doing it, we are kind of creating wealth from the waste, basically. That's one. And, there is something, India, unfortunately, I'll tell you, I had the opportunity of working, I'm sharing some of my personal experiences. I don't know how relevant it is, but nevertheless, I used to work in the UK. And I used to spend 80% of my time in India for 20% of the business I used to do. And 20% of the time in China for the 80% of the business I used to do. I used to kind of get the shoes from China. I used to get uppers from China, make the shoes in Italy and sell it into Boss and people like them. Get shoes into Rotterdam and distribute it on the warehouse. We have been unfortunately stagnant only in the men's footwear sector. Men's. India has got leathers, light leathers, ovine leathers, which are suitable for light fashion women's footwear. But why we are not being able to do it? Because we don't have components. Like I tell you, like all the Aldo shoes which you see in the stores, thanks to Mr. Mohan for bringing in the precast. Sorry, sir. And I'm saying like how it has developed into a business opportunity. All the Aldo shoes which you see in the stores in India are made by us. But everything is developed. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And my colleagues spend about 12 to 13 hours in the factory to get the shoes right. But that is a segment which we need to be in. Because if a man buys, men are lazy around the world. Most of them are men here. Sorry, pardon me. Men are lazy. They just go into a store. They are already preconceived, but they will buy a shoe and then go out. Whereas women are, they are very much more quality conscious than men. And the perception, I'm not saying this to impress all the women here, the perception of the quality value relationship is much better. You go in the world, any part of the world, women are most preferred in this trade. For three reasons. Number one, the sense of quality is much better than men. Second is they are much more patient than men. We don't have patience. We just go, pick up the shoe and come back. They are very patient. They'll go 10 stores and buy maybe one pair. And, and the third is the dexterity. They can do much better job than so that's why women are preferred everywhere in the world for the shoe industry. And India as a country with 49% of our population is women. The power of 49 is a thing which I used to run in Tata's when I used to be there. The 49% of the population, country's population is women. What happens if women also works and the men also work? What is the contribution it will create towards the GDP? It's something unbelievable. So we need to look at the social angle also. Dr. Sriram, I was praising you, so you missed it. So I'm saying like, okay, this is something, the intervention which I said, the duties, we should. I in fact gave, the secretary got a little upset, but he agreed with me. Mr. Naushad was part of that meeting. I gave the example of the iPhone industry. iPhone industry, if you look at it, all the components are imported. And the value addition is very low, about 18-19% only, because it's all only assembly job what we are doing here. If you look at it, the non-leather footwear, especially the women's high-grade fashion footwear, which there are only 3 factories which are doing the world-class quality. I can tell you that. The restaurant, there's one customer who's withdrawing from India and he's going to sell only bags. I don't want to name him. He's a very famous brand. He's going to sell only bags and he's taking the shoes away because he can't get it from Malaysia. Those shoes are made in Malaysia, actually. It's a good brand, actually. So we need to kind of look at reduction of duties and components. That is something which yesterday we had a thing. First is our Indian manufacturer need to get the exposure, the type of components which is available. I'm producing Aldo here. Let me tell you, even the screw I import from China. The last shapes, we are not being able to do it properly here. I'm not kind of saying anything. We are used to doing men's. It's a highly competitive market. Women's is a very good market because women don't, they're not going to spend, the husbands are going to spend, so they don't mind the prices. I'm saying like, they are very much more quality conscious and they buy, if a man buys one pair, she will buy 2 pairs. And the children's segment is something which we need to kind of get into this. This is something, if you dissect our exports and then see, it's all men's. It's all men's. So we need to kind of get into that. China is biggest in women's and Vietnam is very big in women. And so that is one area because we have leathers which are suitable for women's footwear in the country. And so we need to kind of really focus on it. FTS and I think is big thing. And I will know, and also we need to collaborate with the textile industry. I was a part of a symposium which the textile ministry conducted for technical textiles. I don't know whether Mr. Naushad was there. And technical textile is something which is evolving quite a bit. It's a completely different subject. And CLRI could help us quite a bit on that. That is something which is, we should look at it. Suggestion for leather and for export. We have to reinvent ourselves. Leather is here to stay, despite fashion changes. This strong belief we need to have. You look at last 10 years data, I can send it to you. It is hovering between 14 to 16%. It has not gone down at all. It is hovering. Don't compare by value. Many people say, oh, it's 30% value. Don't go by value. Our aim is to create jobs. So the number of pairs is what we need to look at. And we need to look at, I already spoken about this thing, and 3M ecosystem is critical, which we have said. We are trying to do in our own small way. And Dr. Sriram spoke about the innovation and what's happening future forward. We need to be future ready. I come across a technology which is going to be, I don't want to name the brand, which is going to be introduced in the market in 2026. And we have signed a collaboration with that producer of that material. Waterless dye. Waterless dye is something which is going to be the next innovation which is happening in the sustainability. So you preserve water. That's something which is happening. Then this is a broad suggestion: come together, be united. Leather, non-leather, CLE, CIFI, CII, ASSOCHAM, forget about everything. We have one common goal: come together. Come together, be united. There is so much of value which is available. So much of value. I was present when we revised the syllabus with Sriram sir. And so much wealth of knowledge is available. Like the CO2 presentation was extremely good, what this gentleman made. But okay, I would have said that it should be kind of extended to across the thing. Because I tell you, we are into fertilizers, we are into mining, we are into other things also. We are evaluating a project in Australia. You will not believe. The amount of carbon credits which we can generate and trade is $500 million a year. $500 million a year. That's what you can trade. Because today there are people, you can sell your carbon credits in advance. And you can take a loan also. 30% you can sell it in advance at a discount, and you can take a loan also on the expected carbon credit. And if you don't do it also, you have no problem, because there are insurers who insure that. So things have changed quite a bit. So it's a right direction which CLRA is taking towards that initiative. Then have a holistic approach. Holistic approach, I mean that look at the complete ecosystem. What is our ecosystem? Material making, be leather, non-leather, fiber, components and everything. Then shoe making, then distribution, then retailer. Look at the complete holistic approach you have. That's what China had. They put, like I was telling before, in 2000 China changed the whole policy, 2000 onwards. And they said they put more money in the hands of people, they never bothered about inflation. And that changed the entire Chinese industry. And it created more job opportunities. Skill development, focus on skill development. Here we need to, yesterday I was in the skill development meeting, somebody said I was involved from 2010. Then they said, look, it is leather skill sector was started in 2013, what bullshit you are doing. But the leather, NSDC was started in 2008. And Mr. Ramadurai, who was the vice chairman of Tata Consulting Services, was the chief of that. And the first guy whom he met on the leather industry was me. I was fresh. He was looking for some fresh ideas. I was working in the UK. He called me specially to come over. And so I'm saying like skill development in line with what is happening. Look at NSDC and involve international people. Get international people. I'm saying again, international people. I'm not saying they are something great or God. I'll give you the example of Phung Thai. I was involved in Phung Thai when they came in 1998 in India. I was to join them. Mr. Peter Nickerson, the chairman of Phung Thai, is a very good friend of mine. And I was running a small company in Ranipet. I didn't know what to do with life. And so Phung Thai approached and it didn't work out at that point of time. The second time when they came in 2006, when they signed the MOU, they said that they will take a place which has got no industry. So they went to Tiruvannamalai district. Then I jocularly told Peter Nickerson, look, that's the district which has got only Swamijis and saints and temples. And what is it you're going to do in that industry, in that place? I said this. And to be very honest, he said, what's the fun? Please go and then interact with the girls who are working there. Completely the things have changed. They're so independent. I have got IRN women empowerment in my Tata group when I was there in the thing. So this is kind of the skill development is something which you should get international technicians. Phung Thai first got some 40 technicians from Taiwan and China. And today it's all Indian management which is managing. 4 or 5 years they went back. So this is something, you know, we need to take. And marketing. We need to market ourselves better. I'm sorry for the comment I made on the punch-up type of stalls, but we need to market ourselves better. When you're Rome, please do what Romans do. So you cannot kind of, you know, we need to project a very good image about ourselves. We cannot be, we should not be shy about it. We are not lesser. We are, you know, really we have a rich tradition. How can, this is something which I want to bring actually. One is we spoke about how we are helping the leather industry by creating the waste into wealth, by creating the byproduct into wealth. That is the kind of marketing thing. The footwear industry and the accessory industry can employ women from underprivileged societies. Many of them who had worked with international brands, they always talk about social justice, social accountability. You know, they always talk about, these terms are very, especially the American companies, you know, like it's very, very common, the social justice, change. So if we create a factory and definitely we give employment to women, we change this entire social fabric. I worked in a place, I don't want to take the name of the place, and first thing we said is we'll employ only women. And we had a tannery next door which had only men. So first thing I did is I put a fence around my shoe factory. And all the men got upset. and my name has to be Mohan, which is Krishnan Kanaya, you know, so all kind of rubbish things were told about me. But I made sure that the entire thing was covered. And if you see, the entire social fabric of the district changed. You know, they kind of, in Tamil Nadu it's different. Tamil Nadu, the women, it's a completely different. But the Bimaru states, which we call, the Bihar, Madhya Pradesh and everything, still there is that untouchability, that casteism, all that is there. Still it is there. It's very sickening actually, to be very honest. But it's still there. But how we can change? How we can create an inclusive society? The economy is vibrant only when every section of the society gets the benefit. Every society of the benefit. Should get the benefit, to reach every society, an inclusive society. So a footwear business or an accessory business which is labor intensive, where predominantly women are employed, will help us change the social fabric of that place. This is again a marketing thing which we need to kind of think about it. We need to kind of bring those kind of things. I think I have overshot my time, I'll quickly finish it. And importance, like I tell you, this is something which was disputed quite a bit, but I argued, I proved it. In the sense that if you make 1,000 pairs in this country and sell 1,000 pairs in this country, you make 1,000 pairs and you sell 1,000 pairs. That is 365,000 pairs a year you sell. You create about 425 jobs. Suppose if your consumption of this country goes up from 1.9 pairs per person per annum to say the reports both KPMG has said and Carisalis and SIFI report also says about 3.82 pairs, it will become by 2030 or 2032. So at least another 1.5 pairs. How many jobs you will create? You will create a lot of jobs. And again, no, this is done by, we done by industry experts. We did it. We don't have the chappa of understanding of KPMG, but it is done by industry gurus like Mr. Rafiq Malik or Mr. Kishore Biani, or even Isha also was involved. Isha Mari was also involved, when we spoke about the retail support system. And Naushad, who just left the value retail. So we took all this. So it can create really a good employment generator, and it can create, number one, to conclude, 3 things we can do. Number one, we have to market ourselves better, and we can say that, look, we create wealth from waste. The leather industry is a byproduct of meat industry, and we are kind of, creating wealth from the waste. Second, we should market ourselves much better. We are the ones, the footwear industry can change the social fabric completely of a particular, if it comes in. Perambalur is a district, why we chose Perambalur, for example. Perambalur, many of you may not know, is a district which has the lowest HDI, Human Development Index. So we chose that unit and we said, yes, it is going to, if it takes say 10 years in Cheyyar to develop, it could take 12 years for that. But nevertheless, it's a vision and a strong conviction. Look, you're doing a small thing to impact the lives of the people. We are all very privileged sitting here. I have seen conditions of people who are in a very bad shape. So we are all very privileged sitting here. But we should do something to the society. And footwear, leather and the accessories industry has the ability to make that social impact. I will not go through this, most of the things I have spoken about it. So just to finally to summarize, this is one chart which I want to show, which we developed it. The per capita consumption is going to go to say, that is a kind of a, so India will have 5.8 billion pairs. This is done by what are the levers? The levers are the young consumers who are kind of more fashion conscious than what it was in the older days. It's not a functional necessity. My father used to brag about an ambassador's shoe he bought for and wore for 6 years. Okay, me being in the shoe industry, I got so many, because if I give it to my son something, if it doesn't suit his thing, he will not refuse it, he will take it. But his mother will say, go and cut grass in the, in Europe, you have to do everything yourself. Cut grass in the garden, he'll wear the shoe happily and go. So I'm saying like the youngsters are changing, everything is changing. And if we kind of live in the past, if we are prisoners of the past, we will not kind of, get into the future. We need to kind of really encourage, and India has got a fantastic opportunity with this. I would like to conclude my session, and thank you very much for giving an opportunity. I thought, it would be something to say. Any questions you have? Some budget highlights, which I just want to say. And one of the, in my opinion, which is a good thing, one is the package of about 5,355 crores, which has been allocated for the footwear industry. The second one is the reclassification of MSME. That's going to help a lot. Because 90% of our industry will come under MSME now. With this reclassification, what has been done. And also the credit, export credit, for this industry which has been extended, that is also going to help. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Any questions I can answer, otherwise thanks. And with the Trump administration coming, he wants to kind of de-risk China. If you look at it, if there is a, Tamil Nadu is a very good example. If you have a focus, you come up with a policy, a policy and you customize policy. And you see all the 5 majors of the world footwear contract manufacturers here. Number 1 is Porsche in the world. They produce about 225 million pairs. Number 2 is Hong Fu. They produce about 220 million pairs. Number 3 is my group, Everyman Shoot-On Group, 180 million pairs. But Everyman Shoot-On Group produces a high grade. Dean Shoes is number 4. Fungtai is already here, number 5. Apache is already there. There are at least another 5 people who are waiting in the wings to come in. So there's a huge opportunity which is going to have. So, and it is not just leather they are going to produce. They will produce leather and, not leather they are going to produce. They will produce leather and non-leather both. That complex, setting it up in Karur, basically, that will have leather. And leather we are tying up with people who can make good white leathers. So there are a lot of opportunities are there. And the biggest thing which has happened is we are in focus. We are in focus. That's what I would like to say. Any other questions? Because
So that, yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. And as a token of gratitude, I request Mr. N.R. Jagannathan to present a memento to Dr. N. Mohan, please.
Dr. N. Mohan, despite of short time, he accepted our invitations and delivered a wonderful lecture today. It will be helpful to the students as well as the industry. And I thank all the award winners for the students as well as the exporters, futures. And also I thank Dr. Sriram for organizing this event in this hall and and giving us this hall it will really reduce our expenditure for the intern. I thank Mr. Sushant Malik for organizing this event every year in Chennai to encourage the students as well as the exporters. I thank N.R. Jagannathan for organizing this event and giving us tips everything to how organizing this event. I thank you, sir, for organizing this event, and I thank one and all present here for they make this event memorable and wonderful. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. We are about to conclude today's memorial lecture. I request everyone to kindly join for the lunch outside the premises. Thank you.